My name is Will McCormick. I'm communications lead at OKCoin, which is a fiat-focused crypto exchange in San Francisco. But we're very global. We think very global. We serve 180 countries, and we have offices in Singapore, Japan, Malta, and I think Korea as well. I'm originally from Ireland. I moved to California after grad school, 11 years ago now. I've been working in crypto for about 4 years. Prior to joining OKCoin earlier this year, I ran a PR agency for blockchain companies. So I worked with companies from Bitmain to Elliptic to Salt Lending and a bunch of other startups. But now, I lead up the communications, which is a bit of a, media relations, and also some product communications as well.
Cool. And so like OKCoin, so I've never actually used the platform itself, but it's kind of like, it's more geared towards people that maybe have like just gotten into crypto. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like a Coinbase, but like it's kind of, towards people who, want something like super easy and, user friendly. Is that a fair representation of it? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I mean, we do have a lot of financial institutions that use as well because we're, very low fees, great liquidity, great product. But of this year, we have tried to go after more of the people who are new into crypto as well. So in the last 6 months, there's been a huge change in our product for the better. Just a lot of UX changes, a lot of making things as simple as possible. Our KYC right now is the quickest in the industry. I think it takes, you can be trading, you can be a new user, come to our website, KYC and trading and deposit in like 3 minutes, which is, we tested, it's the best in the industry. So we're really about just removing as much friction as possible. And also while, basically our main purpose is to be a fiat gateway. So, people who are trying to buy into crypto, help, flow that money into, or that crypto into other protocols, which yesterday we announced an earn product, for example, which is, we're pretty excited about, which is, most places have staking products, but this is actually different because, traditional staking products, they will basically play bank. They'll take your crypto, they'll lend you out, they'll lend it on the other end, and they'll take the difference. They'll give you 6%, they'll lend out 10%. What this does is actually, it just flows right through the DeFi protocols. So we basically handle transactions, pay the gas fees, and it can enable anyone to stake on these DeFi protocols without having to deal with all the complexity. So it's just really simple. Stake stable coins, we do all the transactions, they go to Wi-Fi, Curve, or a comp, and you get to keep all the returns. So that's really exciting. That just happened yesterday, just as Bitcoin started mooning. So it kind of went under the radar, but it's a really great product.
I was just looking into that. And I think that's like amazing because I think one of the hardest people for, to get into cryptocurrency is everything is kind of really hard to understand. And there's a lot of friction when you want to, let's say, buy a Bitcoin. You need a wallet, you got to secure it. You have to, do all this other stuff. You have to do KYC, everything. So I think, it's really interesting that you're able to kind of set it up super quickly. And it's kind of, really nice on the user side when they want to stake because they don't have to know about, running their own node. They don't have to do any of that. And they can kind of, just immediately start with that. I'm looking at the site right now as well. So you can earn up to 14%, it's saying. And I also think that's really cool as well. Because a lot of the centralized exchanges that offer staking, like you said, are, just staking your coins and then giving you a fraction of the actual investment. And that's kind of what the traditional market's doing. And that's not really what, crypto is aiming to kind of change. So it's really cool that, you're advertising be your own bank, and that's legitimately what it is. You're given that ability.
For sure. We're really excited about DeFi in general. And, you want to just keep it growing. And what they're essentially doing is just making it really easy to get, fresh capital into DeFi. So as I mentioned, we don't charge any fees. We make money when people convert their dollars into crypto, and then we push that all to the DeFi protocol. So that's very important because, there is a temptation for, centralized exchanges or just new tech to basically take DeFi and try and just like centralize it and push it away, which is what a lot of these earn products are doing. But, we think DeFi has a huge potential, different like, the ICO run. This is actually solving liquidity, like building infrastructure level stuff. It's not just like ideas. And there's a bunch of great companies coming, organizations coming out, which are, Wi-Fi, Curve, and Comp are the ones we selected because we felt most comfortable with that. Because we don't want to expose people to, 40% APR for some new token. Like we've done our due diligence. And as a regulated exchange, we always have to make sure we protect our customers. But yeah, what's happening in DeFi, obviously they have the DeFi summer, and it's kind of shot up and it's kind of settled in a bit, but it's still in a strong place, and it's kind of healthy where it is right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the ICO run, I think, gave kind of a bad rap, I guess, to crypto for a short amount of time. But DeFi, even though there are some of these projects that are like, hey, you get 99% back or whatever, I think those have kind of slowly died down because some of these projects are actually out there doing stuff. Like you said, there's Comp, there's Curve, all that kind of stuff that's actually making the industry 10 times better. What kind of projects are you interested in? Like, do you have any specific ones that you like, or?
I have a friend that runs Kava. They're doing some good stuff, and they work with Binance, and they're Binance Launchpad company. I do like. I think the liquidity and just quick access to loans for margin trading. That's a great place to start and kind of grow from there. So yeah, the Comp is great. Aave is very interesting in that sense as well. But I do think this is exciting to me more so. I got in just before the ICO kind of madness, and I was very excited about that. Then all these crazy projects, what's going on, that's part of it. Some succeed, some didn't. That's just the VC life, and that's what ICO was. You're paying VC, but this is actually more contributing liquidity and capital and getting return. So banking systems based on that, and this is trying to redo that in a completely decentralized way. And now we're at like 15 billion, and if they can get that 10x, to 150 billion, which is very feasible because just the ease of getting this capital, especially, and margin trading is a huge industry. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure it's hundreds of billions or if not more. So just being able to do that in decentralized fashion where anyone can just get a quick access loan or use some collateral and just try and extend their earnings is great. And the fact that there's no middleman at all is very exciting. So said, we could have recreated that in a very centralized approach and taken these staking products, but we just thought what they're doing is great. Let's just try to it. And that's what we're really trying to do at OKCoin. We're just trying to grow the ecosystem, because if the entire ecosystem grows, OKCoin will grow with it. And they'll always need a way to get dollars into crypto. And that's where we as a regular exchange really sit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I think that's the interesting part about DeFi is that, you can actually be a part of the ecosystem now. Whereas if you use a bank, you're just a customer. You're not actually, really part of the, how it all works. Now, DeFi is definitely dangerous if you just, kind of go into it and you're marginal trading and lending and, if it crashes and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's an amazing start because you have to start somewhere. And eventually, we'll get to a point where you probably won't even know you're using crypto when you're doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, so I think, first and foremost, it is definitely dangerous and you shouldn't just, marginal trade or whatever if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, I like some projects like Pool Together. Have you heard of that?
Pool Together. I have, but I haven't really looked into it. Can you remind me?
Yeah, so it's basically it's like a free lottery essentially. So you put your DAI on the platform, and then every week they all the interest that's accrued on your DAI and everyone's DAI together, it's basically gambled off, and then you get your DAI back at any point if you want it back.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. Yeah, so it's a way to get higher. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I was actually really interested in that. I remember looking into it and kind of fell off. But yeah, it's a great way, just take a little bit of DAI and rather than get, your few percentage back, it's just go all or nothing, and then you get your stable points back. So yeah, I remember that. I heard about that a year ago. Is it still going well? I should probably look back into it.
Yeah, I think it's going well. I think they got some investments from some other companies, so they've been like adding to the prize pool. I don't think it's fully on the blockchain even yet, too. So I don't know how they're like randomly selecting somebody, if that's like a random generator or how they're doing that. But I just thought, the whole idea is pretty interesting. When somebody says no loss lottery, you ought to think scam, but like, I think it's cool what they're using DAI for something that, actually has purpose. Like it's really, it's not really, no loss because you're losing your interest, but like, I think the way that they've integrated it has been, pretty cool to see.
Yeah. It's a more fun way to stake. For sure.
Yeah, it's a fun way, and especially if you only have a few DAI too. So I mean, you only need one to win. So I think that's definitely something that's interesting. But also like Well, the problem that I see like in traditional finance is like you have to be an accredited investor for everything. So that's why I really like crypto, because you can kind of just buy it. You know, if you go through the KYC and everything, you can buy it, you can be a part of it. And so I think that's one of the really interesting things about DeFi in the future is that, you know, you can actually become a part of something and a part of, you know, an organization without going through, you know, the whole KYC and, you know, securities. But yeah, so where do you see crypto in like, you know, 10 years? I think, you know, it's a really vague question, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, what you're talking about in terms of you know, investing in projects, you know, we went through that the ICO period, but I think, you know, as we mature, that may become more, you know, allowing people to become investors in good stage projects. And I saw the name escapes me of the company. Is it Revolution? There's a company that's doing that. It's not, there's a stem from crypto, but basically you can invest in early stage projects, kind of like a GoFundMe, but for projects. And there are some crypto projects in there. But yeah, the whole accredited investor ideology from the government, I mean, it came from a good place, but you know, in today's world, when you can just upload 100 grand onto, you know, Robinhood and, you know, just buy options there, you know, just answering a 3-question test, you know, I think that needs to be relooked at because, yeah, as we've seen with even, you know, the Airbnb IPO and the DoorDash IPO, you know, there's all the capitals kind of, you know, Goldman Sachs is getting in pre-market and, you know, they're buying up, you know, the price target, I think, was set at like, you know, $85. And then before it even hit the retail, it already up like 100%. So, you know, there's just so much money to be made that retailers can't even, or retail investors just can't access.
Right.
And, you know, if you there's a good idea, I think you should, you know, should be able to, but, you know, obviously you have to do your own research, but, you know, in a world where there's many other similar risk factors and, it doesn't seem to all seem evenly when, you know, as I mentioned, you know, Robinhood, you can deposit 100 grand pretty easily.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that I was, you know, thinking is like people really only when you're a retail investor and, you know, whatever it is, like you make under 250,000 or whatever, your only options are really to gamble, you know, like buy a lottery ticket if you want to make money, go on Robinhood, you know, do that sort of thing. So I definitely think that it was made for, you know, to help protect people, you know, people that may, you know, not be able to afford to invest in companies. But I think they should definitely relook at something like that. There's a regulation is not always like bad. Regulation can be very, very good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I know the regulation is kind of a bad word by crypto, but definitely
Yeah.
I think it's very necessary in many cases. But I just think it needs to be looked at more frequently and kind of evolve with it. So I know they have started to look at, you know, I can't think of specific cases, but I've seen it come up more in Congress where, you know, they want to relook at it and kind of change with the times. So yeah, no, you always have to keep investors safe. And that's what the government is trying to do. But I do think we also need to start getting access to some of these great projects because with so much information about it, that's why they used to be, it was kind of built on, it was hard to get information and you'd have to be very experienced to know what you're getting yourself into. But in this day and age, information is free and plentiful. So, you know, you have to kind of let people make their own decisions, which is what America is kind of about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of back to your original question, where it's going to go in 10 years, I think, yeah, that's one area we can talk about all day. I do think, you know, we take a very American-centric approach, or even, you know, Asian and financial markets approach to crypto right now. It's still, you know, very much an investment. And what it's doing now is a store of, you know, a store of value, which is Bitcoin is doing, or Ethereum on the DeFi side, basically replacing the bank loans is really interesting. I do think DeFi has a lot of potential, and if we can kind of simplify it, and that's what we're trying to do at OKCoin. But I also think, you know, looking more broadly, you know, we see, especially at OKCoin, we do list stable coins. I think we have like 5 or 6 right now, and they are really important to, like, you know, Argentina, for example, is a major market to us. Turkey's like places where, you know, just we have access to the dollar. You know, we are at the top of the food chain when it comes to these type of things. And so being able to give other countries where their currency is just devaluing, and, you know, people have worked hard all their life and just seeing their savings go away from decisions out of their hands. I just think that's really what's most exciting about crypto. Stablecoins can be it. Bitcoin obviously is better just because of the complete way it is. But, you know, stablecoins is really important for that. And just being able to get people to keep their wealth so that they can still, use that to benefit their family and the people around them, their community, I think is really important. Just seeing a currency go down the drain from some government issues or some external issues is really is not great. So I think that's something that will become more and more prominent. And Bitcoin is the global currency in 10 years, one thing or another. But just being able to give anyone who wants to access to stable coins or crypto, so they can at least take control over their own wealth. And as I said, not just watch it go down the drains.
Yeah, I mean, having like a global, transparent, monetary system is really nice because that kind of puts everyone on an even playing field, so to speak, right? And I love the fact, because I run an online business and stuff, so I love the fact that somebody from China can send me money and I can spend that instantly. I can use it instantly. I don't have to wait on $40 wiring transfers, all that kind of stuff. So that's really kind of what excites me about crypto. And it's always nice to be in a bull market too, to talk about it. If this was if this podcast was like 6 months ago, it probably would have been like it's just
it's interesting now, because we do talk about a bull market, but I'm not sure how long you've been in crypto, but I did find it interesting, and it was kind of nice in a sense during 2018, when it was very sideways movement, to really focus on what people are building and less on kind of the investment side. Obviously, a bull run is much better, and I much prefer it. Obviously, that's great now for everyone involved, but at the time it was great just listening to more projects, seeing people build, and just having less to scratch it. That's part of why we're doing so well now, because a lot of the work was done in 2018 when Bitcoin wasn't cool, and now it's cool again, and that work is really being shown. So all those believers who are working hard for the last 3 years, it's really great to see their hard work paying off.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, really the bull market and the investment side only just drags in kind of, small investors that are here and there. They're not here for the longer term. So, I mean, I'm not really like a trader either. I don't, trade constantly. So I don't really care about, the price per se. I just like the idea behind it. And, I think it is really interesting to see kind of how far the industry has actually come, going through the ICO phase, kind of burning, through a lot of those, but then really getting into more of the infrastructure. Now we're at where the good stuff is, we're not at the point, because the ICO was really hey, we're a video game company, let's go on the blockchain, boom, and then that kind of was a busto.
Yeah.
So now it's more okay, let's actually build the infrastructure that people are actually using. So I think that has been, really nice. And then so OKCoin got into Stacks 2.0. I did see that the video, so that's going to be super interesting. You're supporting the launch on January 14th, I believe. Which is the mainnet, right?
Yeah. So that's when everything goes live. So we basically be the launch partner with them. So as we made that announcement, so that's what we're going to be the first exchange that's already announced we'll be listing it. But our compliance team's already been working with them for a while. So that's really exciting. What they've done is a lot of work for the industry as well, because they've essentially shown a path for how you can transition from a security, which a lot of these ICO tokens were, and then move to utilities, so that you can be more being able to list an exchange or a regulatory exchange like us as well. So we have some airdrops going, and that's the feedback we got from the community so far. The Stacks community is really great, so things are going really well there. Team in particular is great. It's a really great project outside of the token itself, just trying to really decentralize the internet. And right now with Facebook and all our data being shared everywhere, that is rings truer than ever. So be able to build decentralized applications where data storage itself is actually decentralized is going to be great. So owning your own data is basically their message, and that's really owning your own financial future was Bitcoin. And this is kind of let's try and own our own data, because data is like the oil of the modern society, as they say.
Yeah. I mean, this couldn't have come at a better time. Did you ever see the Netflix, the documentary on the social media? I think it was called The Social Dilemma, I believe.
It's one of those dystopian things I haven't got around to. I'm very familiar with the problems, but it's just I couldn't bring myself to sit down during the pandemic to just there's enough problems going on. But I've heard great things, and I've worked in and marketing, and it's the marketing is a great thing in a lot of ways, but now it's when you can use data like we've seen in politics, and how it can be used to just like brainwash people or really target people and put them in their bubble so they don't get exposed to new information and just keep cycling in their echo chamber. That kind of highlighted just what the problems are. But being able to, there's some, Amazon, these companies, they have a lot of data about us, they still provide a great product. They tell us they know what we kind of want. And it makes the UX experience great. But once you start, bringing in politics and all that into it, that's a whole different level. So I know, Facebook's there's talks of trying to break it up from its Instagram. So yeah, but I think Blockstack they're launching right at the right time, because I think that's going to bring, even though it's not really about the data per se, it's more about monopoly, but I do think it will just bring more people aware of like what Facebook's doing with the data as well. So yeah, Munib at Blockstack is an amazing guy, very visionary. He's been working on this for 5-6 years. So all their team
I was going to say, this project's been building for quite some time now. I think it was back in 2013.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard about it a while.
And this is,
ago.
Yeah, I actually, we're both in San Francisco, and in San Francisco, they used to be in our office in Starfish a lot. And yeah, it's just, what they're trying to build here. And this is the great thing about, some companies have got, good ICO funding, and that should give you time to build. And something in what they're doing is it's not like a flash in the pan type thing. You can't do it quickly. Like, it really takes time. And now being able to get this, the Stacks ecosystem, being able to stake and get Bitcoin, it's going to bring more, make it more incentivize developers to build on their on Blockstacks. So yeah, they've been building this for a while, and they're running around the right way, and this is why they thought very, very, very long term, more than maybe any other project I've seen, because they realized that their token was security, and they're taking all the steps. Their ICO last year was the first SEC basically approved token offering under the Reg A. So, being able to see that and now go all the way to exchanges, moving away from the security into utility, because they've spent the last 2 years, basically, or a year and a half, decentralizing it. It's just shown it's basically trailblazed away for others to follow. So that's just going to mean more capital flowing into the system, and less government or regulation stepping on this project. So I think that the Blockstack is great for the entire industry, not just for Blockstack.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, it's going to be amazing for the industry, but it's also another example of, actual utility that's happening, on the blockchain. Mm-hmm. This isn't just some, like I was saying before, like a video game company just coming on the blockchain for no reason. This is something that's been thought out, and it's actually being integrated, which is a net positive for the entire industry, whether you're into Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you're into. It's a huge move for all of it. And one thing that I really like about crypto.
Yeah, ultimately.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Sorry, what's that? Yeah. I'm saying, ultimately what Blockstack is doing is, the developer, it's really important to have these platforms basically with developers to go do their thing and not just try and do everything within, one centralized entity. So, from creating this great incentivized structure through their stacking, which essentially allows you to mine Bitcoin in a sense. Not exactly, but, for easy way to explain it, being able to stack stacks and get Bitcoin return, just a very interesting approach as well. So yeah, it's all about just incentivizing developers and giving them enough incentivization to build good stuff, because, as we've seen in DeFi, when you just let people do crazy cool stuff, great stuff comes out of it. So try not to just like block off innovation is great, and Blockstack is just giving them a platform to keep building.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I also like Uniswap and stuff like that too. Although gas fees have been like absolutely crazy. But what I was gonna say is like I really like crypto
from Uniswap.
Yeah, Uniswap.
Yeah, did you get the tokens?
Oh no, I never actually got the token. No, I never got like the 400.
That was a great day. that was a wild few days, but I was actually at the time, for your listeners that weren't aware, if you used Uniswap before this, they basically decentralized and gave away 70% of the tokens to their users to make it very decentralized. But I was actually at the time, because we loved it, and we listed Uniswap pretty quickly as well. And we think, again, we're a centralized exchange. We want to support decentralized exchanges as well. But I was actually trying to find someone. There's someone out there who, was just like a kid who's like into crypto and maybe just found some Uniswap, and maybe they're in like, Indonesia or something, and they just put like $10, $20, $30, whatever they could, whenever gas fees made it allowed. And then just for them to wake up one day and find that they had like $1,500 worth of crypto that went up to like 3,000. But it would have been great. If there's anyone out there, I'd love to kind of hear that story, because I was actually trying to find someone, because I was like, someone should hear this story, because, you know, decentralized stuff below Bitcoin and mainstream media doesn't really care, but you can actually hear these human stories where someone has got like $3,000 worth and that changed their life. I'd love to find that person.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a stimulus thing, you know, that people, they're actually being paid to use the platform. But yeah, there's definitely somebody out there that just created like a bunch of addresses and just used Uniswap, and then we're like, oh my god, like using a bunch of wallets did actually pay off. Yeah, there's definitely
you get lucky sometimes in life.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing. I mean, even with airdrops and stuff like that, I mean, you know, Bitcoin Cash, you know, Bitcoin Gold, even when they, you know, forked, that was, you know, kind of a nice to have. Just by owning Bitcoin, you kind of just, you know, got something else. But what I was going to say is,
it's a good time to chill.
Yeah.
Just maybe mention our airdrop for stacks. So if anyone's listening, if you sign up, you can get part of you know, the airdrop which we're going to do. It's going to start at, I think, 100,000, and then if things go well, we're going to scale all the way up to 1 million. So
cool. What was the airdrop? What was the token called? Or...
You just have to for stacks. So once Stacks 2.0 goes live, we're going to airdrop Stacks, the new Stacks token, to OKCoin users that pre-registered.
Oh, nice. Okay, so then there's the heads up. So you don't have to get lucky. You got all this stuff right there.
Exactly. Now you know.
So everyone loves free money. But yeah, what I was gonna say is I really like how in crypto, you know, people that are running the projects are super embedded into the community. I mean, like you can message like the CEO of Kraken, let's say, I think Jesse Powell. Yeah. You can just message him on Twitter, and he'll respond to you. So I think that's really cool, because in traditional, you know, banking, or even in traditional companies in general, most people are not that embedded, you know, into the community. You know, you can't talk to JP Diamond unless you're an executive, right? Like, so I think that's really cool, and that helps the industry, you know, tenfold, because you're doing what people are actually wanting. You know, like people are telling you what they want, and then you're doing them. So that was the really cool thing. It's kind of the same.
There's no industry,
but yeah.
Yeah, there's no industry like this. I've worked, you know, Silicon Valley tech, and, you know, just crypto is fun. And I've had, you know, it's people are doing crazy things. Everyone, you know, at the end of the day, you can't be in for investment, but, you know, people that are working in it are really trying to, you know, do something. And the fact that it's just like the innovation you can do is just go off and do something wild when a new tech comes along, or just, you know, it's completely open source. All the tech's open source. Anyone, if you're in America, if you're in India, wherever you are, if you have the skills, you can participate. And yeah, you know, as I mentioned, you know, being around since like 2016, so there was, you know, a lot of crazy crypto stuff going on then. And once Bitcoin kind of went to, you know, 20K by 2017, you know, you go to these conferences and it just felt like, you know, a bunch of suits and a bunch of people just trying to get on, try to make some money. And, you know, one of the good things about the ICO crash was that, you know, a lot of those people that were just there just to make some quick money left. And the people that stuck it through are all the best people creating stuff now. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you know, just that building process, anyone that went through those 3 years, you know, they're really into it. They're not just there just to make some quick money like they were in 2017, where a lot of people were in 2017. So yeah, great for crypto that those people stuck it out.
I would urge anyone to go to like a crypto event. I've been to like a few ETH events. I went to Ethereum Boston, I think in 2019, whenever the last one was. And I mean, you go to one of those hackathons, people are going crazy. I mean, they're up for like 17, 18 hours a day, just going crazy with the projects. So that's something that's
like a music festival.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a blockchain like you don't have to be in programming. You don't have to do any of that. You can just show up to one of these things. So that's what I think is also crazy, is like if you're new, crypto loves you. You know, like we want to help everyone kind of get involved and you know, get into it. And I have a lot of people that, you know, are in programming and stuff, and they're like, well, I want to get into crypto, but like, I don't know how to code in Ethereum, you know, like I don't know how to use Solidity and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, you can just get into it still. Like, even if you don't have 10 years background, nobody really does, right? So I think now is the best time to get in.
Yeah, I mean now, a lot of the developers happen, a lot of these developers have more experience, the code's a bit more, fleshed out, some of the Bitcoin Core stuff. Well, you can even, anyone can work in Bitcoin Core as well, technically. So yeah, I think what crypto really needs right now is actually like, UX, good marketers, good storytellers, because the innovation is happening. And I think we just need to sell the story to people who are new to crypto. Because yeah, I do think, obviously now it's changing with the bull run happening, people are going to perk up and start investing. But, people are always in Bitcoin, and there's, yeah, and it is still up in a league of its own as an asset. But, I think once people, that's just the gateway into some other of these interesting projects. So again, DeFi is something that's really exciting, but Bitcoin will always reign supreme because it's just such a genius piece of technology that I don't think, I mean, you say it, but it'll be hard to ever see something like that ever again.
Yeah, definitely. And Bitcoin's one of those weird things that like since you found out about Bitcoin, have you ever gone a day without thinking about it? Because I legitimately don't think I've ever gone a day without thinking at least the word Bitcoin if I didn't say it out loud. I think I've thought about it every single day. And what I found is like everyone's like that. Like if you find out about crypto and you want to just stick with it for a few days, you'll never stop thinking about it. It's so much different than anything else. There's not many things that you think about every single day. So it's like, it's one of those, it's the craziest thing ever. And it's like even hard to explain to somebody who doesn't know anything about crypto is that when you're buying it, even if you buy Bitcoin once, you're immersed into the community. Like you're set in.
Yeah. And that's why I say to my friends who are interested, a lot of people ask, they know I've been working it for 5 years, and they, I bring it up sometimes and I'll go on rants just because I'm really passionate about it. But I just say, just buy $50 worth, get some skin in the game, then you'll be in touch. I'm not saying like put all your money in Bitcoin, buy $20,000, like go to the moon. I never say that. Just like buy 50. We have a recurring, for example, OKCoin, we have a recurring buy. So you can just buy $10 every month or something, if you want, or day or week, whatever you want to do. It's a great way to get into it. Just like every paycheck, I'll put $50 into it. You don't need to worry about dips. You just it's a great way to invest for people to get into it. And yeah, you have skin in the game. And then, once you start paying attention to it, you'll see the asset perform, and then you'll start to learn more about it. So that's a great way for anyone new to get into it, not just like fall for my friend said this, I'm going to, especially right now when it's this high, like do not put your life savings into it. Just make sure that just put some in, because it's an asset that should be in everyone's like portfolios, I like to say, these days people are a lot more financially aware about their assets and whatnot, and Bitcoin should be part of that for everyone. I think that's what people are coming around to. Even if it's 1% of our CEO Hong wrote a great op-ed in CoinDesk. I recommend anyone check it out. It's like a path to 100K, and she is a former Goldman Sachs investment banker for 8 years, and she's not one to just say, she's not like a McAfee, like we're going to a million type thing, but she has a thesis to it, and it's pretty much Bitcoin is at that stage, and we're seeing this with more corporate treasury buying up Bitcoin, where it has a place in every portfolio, and if it gets to 1% of corporate treasuries, Bitcoin could be 100K. So, and that's not an advantage, So, but just yeah, and that's a starting point. And in this run, particularly, maybe the last few days have changed. Haven't looked at the data, but the previous kind of run, it's been very institutional, which is good because yeah, retail is a bit more frothy, but institutionally they're there for the long term. They're not buying to get quickly, so this is going to make it a bit more stable asset, I think. And that's a hope
like
anyway.
Micro strategies, them buying, like $400 million worth. I mean, yeah.
I think it's I think he just raised 675. I think he bought 450, and now he's trying to raise 600 million to go buy more Bitcoin.
Oh.
So yeah, he's going all in.
yeah, no, he's not messing around. But yeah, no, I mean, I think like when you're trying to teach somebody about Bitcoin, you definitely don't want to say, go all in, because then those are the people that don't want to talk to you anymore when it dips, because there's Bitcoin will dip again. It will dip again. Maybe it won't be 5,000, maybe it won't be, but it's going to dip. It has to dip at least, a few more dips. So
it might be happening right now.
I mean, it could be there, or it could be at 100K. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people that even get in crypto, you want to get your family members involved and stuff like that. But yeah, just don't do it. Otherwise Thanksgiving's very awkward. If you tell people. For sure. Yes. But yeah, get some skin in the game and then make your own decisions. But that's kind of it, because yeah, it's stock market's pretty
pretty frothy in itself right now, so it's no less risky than that. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. We used to have like 1-2% changes, but the stock market, especially on the EV side, like there's a bubble going on over there. It's pretty risky in the stock market right now as well. So whatever you're doing in finance, just do a lot of research and with your investments and be careful, as you pointed out very, very nobly.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. And yeah, I was stalking your Twitter, and I see you're a Chelsea fan. What's going on with that?
Oh yeah. Well, what, are you a soccer fan, or who do you
No,
support?
I mean, I just like I started watching soccer like when I was in college. So like my friends are all like soccer fans.
Yeah.
So I'm a Man City fan just to make them mad.
Oh, you're like, oh look, who's
I'm
winning
like,
right
who's
now?
the best right now? Okay, I'm a Man City fan.
The most soulless, the most soulless team. Yeah, I'm a big Chelsea fan. I'm a big rugby fan as well. Rugby is probably I played, and that's where my passion is. Rugby is an incredible sport. And Ireland, we're good. We're kind of sloppy right now. But yeah, Chelsea is a cool team. We have a great team right now. Bunch of young players. Frank Lampard is my favorite Chelsea player, and he's the coach. But yeah, football's also good for like some drama as well. It's like a little, it's like when you're into, you know, a reality TV show or just like a gossip corner. It's kind of good for like sometimes when I'm super into crypto, or, you know, you're looking at crypto all day. It's just nice to like listen to some frivolous soccer podcasts and just all the nonsense that goes around with it. So that's kind of my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think one of the teams is sponsored by like a crypto company, right? Is it Watford or something? I think.
Yeah,
One
actually,
of them
yeah, it
has
was
like the
great. What
Bitcoin
was it?
logo. I think it might be Watford. Maybe it's
Yeah,
somebody different now.
Watford. Yeah, they got relegated this year. But yeah, there was. Yeah, seen that and I was like, why wasn't that a bigger deal? I remember when I used to work with Bitmain, and they actually sponsored the Houston Rockets as well back in like 2000. I didn't work with Bitmain, and they were clients of mine. But yeah, the Houston Rockets, they sponsored them for a little bit as well back then. But yeah, it's cool. I remember seeing that in Watford. I was like, why wasn't this a bigger deal? I was like, there's Bitcoin signed on their jersey.
Yeah, I remember seeing a Litecoin logo on UFC one time too. I was like, what the hell? Like, I never look at the logos that are on the map, but then I just randomly saw Litecoin. I was like, what is that doing?
Litecoin.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? That must have been, that sounds like 2017 stuff.
Yeah, it was probably like a few years ago, but I don't even know who paid for that. Like, who would have paid for Litecoin? I don't know.
Ask Charlie Lee. Maybe he knows.
Oh yeah, it probably was. That is, yeah.
Cool. Well, how's that? Do you think that's good?
Do I think like it's good to advertise with like?
Oh no, I mean, I thought is that good timing for you? Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, we're good. If you wanna cut that down.
Is there anything else you want to cover, or I have like 5 more minutes to do. But...
Yeah, sure. So any other projects that you're working on? Do you still currently do stuff with your PeerNut company, or is that something that you?
Oh, no. So that was basically my agency. Yeah. So as I said, it was very blockchain. Crypto focused. I didn't work on tokens so much. I really worked on more like products, because tokens is just kind of a wild ride. And if you do public relations for tokens, you kind of get, especially for the ICO token projects, you can get pulled into just kind of trying to pump it. And I really didn't do that. I'm very ethical in what I do. So it's more on the product side, lost service providers, things like that. So yeah, I don't do anything there, full time in OKCoin these days. In terms of other projects, yeah, I mean, I'm always down to, provide some help with like some up and coming projects, just in terms of like product communications, or even just like, they have a startup launch. If there's something I'm passionate about, just like helping them out. I've helped out some friends all through the years, or just got recommendations. Some people just need some quick help. So yeah, the thing about like PR in general, just to maybe switch to that, and why I kind of got into crypto PR, I originally, I've worked in an agency for like 5 years, whole Silicon Valley stuff, much like, Dropbox even, when they're new projects back in the day. And I kind of went out of it because, it's a tiring industry. You kind of have to always be on. You can't, it's not something where you're just like on, building or coding. It's, you just have to be very aware of what's going on around you. So I went out of it, went into marketing roles, but I actually got pulled back into communications again, because I saw in 2017, I was kind of doing a little bit of consultancy before that, but for crypto projects, but really like early 2017, I was just seeing this like bubble happen, and there's all these new media outlets just popping up, and they were with the entire goal of just shilling tokens to unaware people, and I hated that. I thought it was really bad. And, you know, those companies that did that, they made a bunch of money back then, but they're all gone because they don't know how to do proper public relations. And it's really about, you know, really understanding the project, really building long-term relationships with, you know, reporters, and also having a good rapport with, you know, your client or the company itself. But yeah, there's a lot of good storytelling opportunities in crypto. And that's why, you know, if anyone's in marketing or public relations, yeah, the technology is there, the money is there. I think we need more marketers, we need more writers, we need more, you know, people who are more on the creative side. And yeah, as you said at the start, you know, there's no better industry right now than to be in. And I think a lot of people are going to come around to that, because once the abstract nature of blockchain kind of gets stripped away and you start to see products that are built on blockchain or use, like, you know, you can have a decentralized lending system within a financial app, or, you know, you're using stable coins for payments. Once we abstract all of that away, it's just going to be a much more efficient fintech landscape as well. Or we can get into, obviously, decentralization, which is why I really first dove in from, you know, the Ethereum ICO, and just the idea of smart contracts and complete decentralization. You know, that's still all well ahead of us, when we'll start to see, like, you know, life-changing impacts, like from society to, you know, blockchain-based voting systems, or you know, a decentralized Amazon, these type of things. Like that is still all ahead of us. So we're only just getting started.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. Yeah, the transparency is big, you know, with marketing and stuff like that, because you can easily get, you know, kind of lost in sight and start, you know, pushing projects. And then it turns out like, oh, there was a huge, you know, they weren't audited. And then it's like, oh my God, like you just totally, you know, probably hurt people more than, you know, you helped if you did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So I used to write some YouTube videos for Doug Polk, who ran like a YouTube crypto channel. And that's kind of like the whole basis on why that was created, is because we wanted to bring more transparency to people. So, you know, we talked about BitConnect and Verge, and, you know, like we, you know, made jokes about them. But that was kind of our main focus, was to kind of go against, because we saw a lot of people that were, you know, shilling projects, you know, McAfee, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. That's probably the number one thing to look for, you know, in crypto.
Big connect. Those are the days. The big.
hey.
that meme. I saw that meme yesterday, and I was just like, it still brings like I mean, it's just the ridiculous laughter to me. It was just such a ridiculous period of time.
Vitalik always brings it up, like on his Twitter, like like every year he has to bring it up. I think he did it at a conference one time too. Or like, yeah, he opened it and was like, hey.
Yeah, I read, I'm not sure if you read it, Camilla Russo's book, was it The Infinite Machine? And it was great to get, I recommend it. It's basically about Ethereum, but, you know, it does take you through the entire, you know, ICO boom and whatnot. And it was nice, kind of like, you know, you always read about it, but it was nice to see like a very chronological book talking about the entire journey of where crypto really started, or Ethereum really started more than Bitcoin. And then all the journey through, and a lot of the characters that pop up. And remember, Connect popped up there. One time I just like laughing to myself thinking of that video. So yeah, good times. Recommend the book if anyone gets it, or if anyone wants to read it. It's really good.
I think she has a few books, right? I think she might have 2 or 3.
Maybe. This is her new one. I really liked the cover on it as well. So and I'm sure she does. She's a great writer. So I'm sure she'll have many more, but this one in particular is great.
Yeah, cool. Wait, so when did you first got into crypto in 2016, you said?
Yeah, it's funny. I could have a different path, because I think like Ethereum really dragged me in more than Bitcoin. You know, I was a gamer back in the day. My brother still works in, you know, the gaming industry, and I'd seen Bitcoin around, and, you know, I always just thought of it as this kind of like, you know, FIFA points kind of system, but a bit more peer-to-peer. And I didn't really, yeah, I get that. I'm like, cool, online digital currency. But it wasn't until I read, you know, the Bitcoin Standard. Have you read it before? It's pretty much a staple for everyone. The first book you should read about Bitcoin, essentially. But it wasn't until I read that by, I think it's Sufyan and Moose. Name to describe. I hope I didn't butcher that. But yeah, if there's ever a book you want to give someone about Bitcoin or blockchain or crypto in general, that is it, because it wasn't the idea of digital scarcity is really what did it, and I didn't really understand that until maybe like 2016, and that's when I really started to things clicked into place. And that's just I really got into Ethereum for the decentralized aspect of it, because I do think decentralization is huge, because or else, you know, we could just see ourselves tipping towards like corporate monopolies, and being able to keep things decentralized is essential to our future. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then, you know, as I said, I was working at a VR company, and that was a cool space as well. And there's actually a lot of because there's a lot of blend between those two kind of people, because gamers, you know, people trying to do crazy stuff, and more and more people started talking to me then. And then I had a friend, Sasha, who really like was super into it, and who was in the same building as me I worked with, and he was just like super passionate about it. He's a big nano guy, which I make fun of him for now, but yeah, into it. And once it clicks, once you're hooked, you know, there's no turning back. And that's the same thing I hear from a lot of people. Like, you know, once they get it, they just want to work at it. And a lot of people at OKCoin we work with, or just friends who met through the industry, they all kind of came to that realization that just dump whatever you're doing and just get into it, because you know it's going somewhere.
Yeah, it's interesting how everything kind of just aligns, because I was also in the video game like industry a little bit back in 2010, and then I got banned on PayPal because I was 13 years old in 2010. And so so I got banned on PayPal, and then somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to just get paid in Bitcoin? And it's like non-chargebackable." And I was like, "Sure, do it." So that's kind of how I got in. So I kind of got in sort of the same route, but I have just, you know, the weakest hands ever. So I'm not in a mansion, unfortunately.
I know. I know. That's the thing. It's like a lot of people that have the mansions just like have a hard drive of Bitcoin they forgot about.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like no one was thinking it was going to 20K at the time. And like a lot of it's often people like you or myself that have weak hands that like have stayed in it, or people that just like fluked it, made 10 million, and they just never work again. Like, you know, that's just wasted talent, wasted capital. But you know, there are people who have big bags of Bitcoin, and they're just in it for, you know, for building and the innovation. But you know, a lot of people that are staying around, we didn't know what was going on the investment side, but we got into it from just crypto and just the idea of blockchain and everything. And yeah, we're still in that. But you know, maybe keep those diamond hands, and who knows where we're going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always like hard to even explain it to people, because they're always like, "Well, do you have FOMO now? Like, how pissed are you?" And it's like, well, if you have $30 and you invest it, and then it turns into like 5,000, how are you not selling it? You know what I mean? Like, how are you?
Yeah.
It's so hard to hold it, because at that point you're kind of being financially irresponsible, because like you can't afford to invest that, right? Like, you wouldn't have invested 5,000. So yeah, that's always the interesting one. And then there's like, you know, the 10,000 Bitcoins for the pizza, and you know, I made those mistakes too with shoes and stuff like that. So I feel for him, although it wasn't 10,000 Bitcoin. Like, I feel for that.
Yeah, I think it's all a learning phase though. You know, I trade a little bit. I'm not huge, but I do try to accumulate. I'm not trying to like short trade, but trying to accumulate in a more sensible fashion. You know, buy the dips as opposed to, you know, just putting all your money in one time. That's always a good kind of strategy. Dollar cost average is a great way to invest as well, as I mentioned. You know, putting it in every month. But yeah, so I think of some of the things I had, like, you know, I got into some ICOs which were terrible, or I sold my Ethereum too soon, or whatnot. But I just think it's a learning phase, and I think, you know, if crypto keeps going up, you know, I'll benefit from it through work, or you know, my Bitcoin now will go up or whatnot. So I don't even regret it anymore, like, because it's just like it brought me on this journey, and I'd rather be working here with less Bitcoin than have some Bitcoin and work in some more stuffy Silicon Valley tech job. So it's all for the better.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's kind of like we just want to see the technology succeed, because that's the most important, you know, aspect of it. You know, to be in something that you love and have it work. But no, yeah, I know you're busy. You got something to do it too. So
cool.
You know, we can cut it short. But hey,
Great.
I appreciate you coming on.
For sure.
I think it's been
How'd you find me, by the way? Just random Twitter, or?
Yeah, just random Twitter, I think. Yeah, I think you probably commented on something with OKCoin, and then I was like, oh wow, this is, you know, interesting guy, and then so
cool. And what do you? I see you have an agency. What do you do?
Yeah, so we do marketing. We do some DeFi stuff. We're very selective. We're not like, you know, my marketing people are like, don't say it, but like, we're not like super heavy. Like, hey, we just want any business we can get.
Yeah.
But we're kind of like a 360, you know, consulting company. So we do marketing, content creation, PR stuff. You know, we'll do the whole bit, but we are very, you know, selective. So if somebody contacts me about building a DeFi project and they're like, hey, we want you to build something like this, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Well,
So
I've been in your position running an agency. Bad clients can kill you. You need to be very selective. I was very selective as well.
yeah,
I was getting offers for any ICO under the sun, offering tokens, and I was like, A, I don't want to get caught in trouble by the SEC, so I kind of avoided all token projects. But B, it's just like, yeah, you can involve a project and you're spending all your time and it falls apart. And it's keep that. Being
yeah.
very selective of your clients is always a good idea. But yeah, let's stay in touch. And if you're in San Francisco, hit us up. And it's a great community there. The Bitcoin Mag guys are there as well, and they put on some good events. And once we can, I haven't actually been to our office yet. I've been here about 9 months, and just because of COVID, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But we have a great office, and once we're back there, I'm gonna put on a bunch of events, just community-driven events, just come out, have a beer, drink, talk Bitcoin type of stuff. So if you're ever around, let me know.
Alrighty, perfect. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
And there you have it. So in the description below, I'm going to have some of the links of some of the topics that we talked about. So if you guys want to revisit anything, if you guys want to check out Will, you can see all of that stuff in the description. If you're listening to this on Spotify, just head over to YouTube. I'm sorry. And then you'll be able to kind of just figure everything out from there. And so next week, we're going to be coming back. We have another guest next week. Really good one. You guys won't want to miss that. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will talk to you then. Thanks.